Good evening, everyone. John Henry Soto here. Welcome to 7 p.m., my new venture, Primetime Interviews. And tonight I have Mark Orlowski today, a real estate agent from New Jersey here in Hudson County. Actually, all of New Jersey. He commands the whole area, actually. He's great. He's got great information, a lot of energy. I'm very excited to have him back on, not this particular show because this is new, but back here for a conversation with me. So stay tuned. All right, quick and painless little opening there. Let's just say hello to Mr. Mark Orlowski. What's up, Mark?
Hey, John. Happy to be here.
Thank you. How's everything going with you?
Going well. Can't complain. It's a great real estate market, and I'm excited every day.
Okay. Wow, I like that. All right. Well, we're off to a good start, and I want to read just something really quick that I just was reading earlier today. So this is the 2021 real estate market forecast. And I'm going to be asking you questions based on this. Obviously, for anybody that's out there that's interested in either selling or buying or investing or whatever they're trying to do in real estate, just to kind of give them an idea of where they are. Right. So this basically says New Jersey was hit hard by COVID-19, ranking as one of the top markets affected by the pandemic. New Jersey's unemployment rate skyrocketed, leaving families struggling to pay the bills and their mortgage. The state's hardiness and grit have shown brightly throughout the last 6 months, and unemployment decreased and home sales have risen. So as demands swell, the median sale price has also risen, increasing by 5.3% year over year. And so with all this information in mind now, just wanted to kind of ask you. This is something that was reported on the, where is it? The ceshop.com.
Mm-hmm.
I know they provide a lot of great information on there. So obviously, yes, it was really hit hard. A lot of real estate basically stopped pretty much for a while, for a little while there. I think for the first maybe like month and a half, maybe.
Yeah, we were even deemed unessential for
Right.
like a small period of time. And then they lifted that very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I think they realized, people have to move around and people have to do their stuff. Yeah. So that would affect a lot of people.
A lot of jobs.
Yeah, exactly. So how is the market right now as far as just overall? See, give me a broad, and then we're gonna go deep.
Yeah, no, it's a great time to do anything. It's a great time if you're a seller. If you had any thought about selling, it's definitely worth exercising a little bit more, due diligence on that. See what your home is worth. Talk to a couple professionals in your area. If you're outside of New Jersey, if you're in New Jersey, call me. If you're buying, interest rates, the incentives are incredible. They are on the way back up. They're not going to be down here forever. But still historic lows. Overall, it's worth it to be buying a home right now. If you thought about relocating, downsizing, it's a great time to do it. They're probably going to be one of the best real estate markets in my lifetime. I know I'm young, but I just see everybody talking about the activity and the movement in the marketplace right now. It's incredible.
So, inventory I hear is low though. And I think that seems to be one of the things that I think sellers really have to start considering, the fact that there isn't a lot of inventory. So their house has a really good chance of being taken really, really quickly. So if you're considering and also because of this whole situation, it has actually, home prices have actually risen a little bit, right? So you can get more for your home than you thought, pretty much. Of course, you have to kind of figure out where the home is and what the condition of the home and all the other stuff. But generally speaking, is that the case? Do you think somebody can get more now than they could have obviously not during the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think pretty much industry average. I mean, you're seeing a large increase from 1 year ago today till today. And the pandemic is a big outlying factor that helped push that movement. But even going back to before the pandemic, we had low inventory on the market. So this is thing that has been coming. Builders can't build homes fast enough. So you have pretty basic economic theory. Low inventory, a lot of demand. That's just going to raise the price.
Right.
And a lot of people foresee it continuing to happen at least for another year, 2 years, and in the short term, it's going to keep continuing.
Yeah. Now, I know we're talking basically about home sales. Let's talk about rentals just a little bit. I don't want to go too much into rentals because it's pretty simple. You rent, it's pretty simple. But um, the rental market has actually increased pretty big in New Jersey, hasn't it?
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
mean, there's apartments going up all over the place.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess we probably should get together as an office and send a nice fruit basket over to De Blasio because he's really helped us increase our numbers, I think.
Mhm.
So we should kind of get him something nice because we appreciate his
There is
work.
a very long line straight outside of New York,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
moving trucks on the way out.
I know it's really, really kind of sad because I'm from New York and I love New York. But I'm sure they're gonna be fine and they'll get their act together and pick things up again. But we're getting a lot of people moving out of there and moving either to Florida or to New Jersey or
And
to New York.
it's crazy because if you look at the numbers, New York has so many people moving out. Yet this year, right after the pandemic, had like the biggest surge of luxury real estate in New York. 5 million plus contracts over. It was just
Right,
a hot market for all luxury real estate agents.
right.
Um,
Now I
but
think is that because people just really aren't
there were good deals
a good
all over
time
New
to
York.
sell. Yeah, it's a perfect time to get a good deal. So that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that's funny. So here in New Jersey, what would you say is one of the biggest factors that we have to kind of overcome as far as getting over this hump, if there is a hump at all?
You know, I don't think there's a hump. Yeah, I think everyone's, got to stay safe, do what makes them feel comfortable. But at the end of the day, we all have our plans, our goals. I think we should do everything that we can to still really see them through. For me, I want to continue to grow, and if I have to do anything within the means of, staying safe, and I'm going to do that. So that's the best way to get over the hump, in my opinion. Is
Yeah,
put your head down, do what's best for you, your family, the people around you. But you still got to go after the things that you're looking to achieve.
right. So we are. I want to go over like some of the steps that you would, if somebody is considering and they're watching this right now and they're saying they're considering selling their home. We have record low inventory, but home sale prices are expected to rise at least 10.8% in 2021. And that's going to really put a lot more money into the sellers' pockets, which is a good thing for them. So, you know, I always hear this expression. Real estates tell people, make sure you have your ducks in a row when you're gonna go out and buy. Make sure you got your ducks in a row and you got them lined up and you got all your, So I mean that basically means get all your paperwork and all your stuff because there are a lot of people that are bidding for these places too. So like most places how many places are going for listing price right now?
So many are going over the asking.
Right.
You know,
Right, across the country too. I have
yeah,
friends in other places that are
yeah.
saying the same thing. And
When
the
you give what they're asking, they turn around and they look at like that's it. We're
right,
insulted. We're insulted.
yeah, exactly. That's so crazy. So if somebody's at home right now, they're thinking of selling their home. What's one of the first things they should do?
You got to definitely start assessing with your goals. Where are you going to move out? Where are you moving to? Why are you moving? Is it the best decision for you and your family? I mean, it's all got to make sense at the end of the day. Next, if you're going to start prepping the house, you got to talk to a few different professionals. I mean, even if you talk to me, I always suggest and encourage getting a second opinion just like a doctor. It's a professional opinion. There could be a couple of different ones out there. You got to have more than one. Next, after that, you got to start looking at the outside of your house. Biggest first impression. I mean, when a buyer comes to the front of your house, you don't want trash all over the place. If you have to do a nice coat job on the outside, you really want to spruce up the landscaping possibly. And all of it is at a low cost. You don't have to go pouring in a lot of money into your home. You just want to make it a little bit more appealing. It's a first impression, right? After that, one of the biggest things that people undermine selling their home is the access from a buyer. Buyers are like babies. When they see it, they want it now. They want to get into it as soon as possible. So if you have a lot of complications with getting people in there, if you're a for sale by owner, and you want to, try and do this, sell your home on your own while you're working, 10-hour shifts in a hospital or something, it's probably not going to be the best thing. Buyers want to get into it. You're probably going to be stressing yourself out even more, running back and forth, but you want to have easy accessibility for them.
Okay. And as far as the finances are concerned, like what steps do they have to do to start getting that ready? Like people always ask, well, what do you need for a deposit? What do you need?
So on the buying side.
Yeah, because a lot of people come in and they see a real estate agent before anyone, right? And a real estate agent is gonna always say, well, do you have a mortgage, or have you at least have you been approved for anything? How much can you afford, and all these things. So what are those steps for someone to look into that they should do?
If you have a closer friend that's a mortgage broker, closer friend that's an agent, I mean, that's a good start. You do want to shop around. Reputation's a big thing. You don't always just want to go with one of your friends. It's not insulting. You really want to take this seriously. This is probably one of the biggest financial decisions you're going to be making in your lifetime. I mean, $500,000, a lot of these homes, if not more. So that's step one. If you're a buyer and you're looking to get into the game, look into a really good real estate agency, who they use, who they would refer to you to, or on the flip side, start shopping around for mortgage brokers and just see who you feel comfortable working with. You got to trust them. That's a big thing. Next, once they start asking for your information, give it all to them. They got to know exactly what you're pre-approved for. It's going to be the guideline. And then you're going to have to set a plan with your agent. Where are you looking? What type of house? What are your needs? And a lot of time, especially in this market, if you want to get into a home in a certain time frame, you're not going to get 100% of the house unless you want to go buy vacant land and build your own. You're going to have to give and take, right? It's a relationship here. So, if it has 80% of the things you like, 10% you can make a change to repair it so that you like it a little bit better. There is going to be a little small portion, and last 10% you're going to have to give up, bite the bullet, and just say, what, it's a starter home, or it's not our dream home. So, we can live with it.
Right. And that's always the challenge, is trying to find those things that they can live without as a real estate agent. So I know you get challenged with that a lot. People generally, have certain, expectations of their home, and certain, certain feelings of their home, of what their homes are worth, because their homes are filled with emotional attachments and memories. And so those memories are worth a lot to them. So their home, they think, is sometimes a little bit. Well, what's one of the things that you do when you're doing a comparative marketing analysis for a client? What's one of the first things that you actually describe to them when you have to show them something that, maybe they want 400 or 500,000 for a home that is 400,000? That's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
How do you approach that?
At the end of the day, on my side, there's always going to be some listings that you just have to not take. It's hard to say, but if you have a seller that's really, really stern on their price, they won't come off it. Sometimes it's always not going to be the best working environment. Right. On the other hand, if you think you can confidently and communicate it in an appropriate way, I think the first thing that I go to is, it also depends on the area. In Bayonne, if someone doesn't have parking, that's a big thing.
Right.
That's a big, people pay a lot in Bayonne.
That's like not having, you'd rather not have water.
Yeah.
I don't care if there's no water. I just need parking.
Yeah. Nonetheless, with the CMA, it's really important. You got to get the comps. I mean, people always have an emotional touch to their home. I always use the story, like, I think my home's worth $1 million, but on paper it's not. It's just in my head. I have that emotional attachment to it. I grew up in it. My mom grew up in it as a kid. So there's always going to be that factor that people hold on to. But at the end of the day, the numbers make sense. I don't tell you what your home is worth. No other real estate agent will tell you what it's worth. It's the market that will dictate it. And ultimately, if a buyer will pay the money, then maybe it is worth it.
Right. And I think that's one of the black and white kind of things that you have to kind of explain to people, is that the market doesn't really and it's a cold thing to say, right?
Yeah.
The market doesn't care about our emotions.
That's why so
Right?
many celebrities actually sell their homes for less. I mean, they make all these magnificent changes that you would think like really increase the value, but at the end of the day, it's their personal touches, and no one else in the world probably that can afford that has
Right.
the same, aspirations for a home.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, celebrities, they add things to their homes that I think really decreases the value, because I think
Exactly.
they add things that really nobody else is going to want. I think Mike Tyson had that problem when he had like lion cages or something. Um, Not really a popular feature. So the market right now, when you're approaching someone, for somebody who wants to purchase a home, not necessarily someone who wants to sell a home.
Mhm.
Purchasing a home is a completely different thing. Obviously, you got to deal with that with a that has to be a sturdy hand of a real
Selling your
estate.
home is one science, buying
Yeah,
a home is a completely separate.
completely different. People don't realize how completely different they are. So when someone is actually coming to you to buy a home, what's one of the first things that you ask them, besides like
Did you
their
talk to
credit?
a mortgage broker? One of the first things.
Did
Did
you
you
talk
talk
to
to a
them?
mortgage broker?
Right,
A lot of people will start looking at a home. They start looking in the 700s. They fall in love. Then it comes time to get pre-approved. Then you can only afford in the 500s. And
right,
there's a big difference
right,
for a lot of people. So pre-approval is big. I always love to have a consultation with someone. That way, because again, the goal's 5 years, 10 years out. You don't think but you have at least an idea. Uh,
exactly.
if you work in the area, you hate your job, you want to quit, but you're planning on buying a home here, and you really don't know. You might move across the country 5 years from now for work. Maybe you rent, but it's big for me to talk to you and have a consultation, because I really got to see where the goals, the figures, and where we're headed.
Right. Do you think that it's easier um, to be with them when they're at with the mortgage? Because it's a tricky thing, right?
No,
If they
I,
find a
I
mortgage,
yeah, I get where you're going, but I don't think so. I mean, that it's a separate relationship. It's good for the agent and the mortgage broker to have a good relationship, to be able to be on the same page at all times throughout the whole transaction. But during the initial process, the mortgage broker can get on the phone with them to start, introduce themselves, then maybe
right?
they meet to exchange paperwork, or email, of course.
Right.
Um, yeah, that really doesn't involve me too much. You kind of let them be their professional.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about New Jersey, or Hudson County anyway. Um, are you doing a lot of work in Bayonne? I know you're based in Bayonne. Your office is in Bayonne. But have you been doing more in Bayonne, or have you kind of been going around to the 12 other
It's so
states?
funny, but I love I love being on the road. I do in Bayonne. I work in Bayonne. Just sold a condo in Bayonne, but I think I enjoy being able to open up to any different area in New Jersey. I love going to Englewood. I love going to Essex County, Bergen County. There's a lot of different Ocean County. I just was in Monmouth County last week. Um, so I love spreading my wings and flying, so to say. But I do like Bayonne. Bayonne is always going to have a special place in my heart. So if I can pick one area, I'd love to dominate Bayonne.
Yeah, yeah. Dominique Bayonne, as a real estate agent, let's talk about your experience as a real estate agent, because one of the things that I just had a conversation, two back to back, which was kind of interesting, with two people that wanted to go into real estate. One of
Mhm.
them is kind of in already, but has her license parked somewhere, or in referral, I should say. Um, and someone else is a brand new person, right? So you being a real estate agent and having a few years under your belt now, you're young, you're energetic, you're smart. What's some advice that you can give to someone that's interested in kind of like going into real estate?
Yeah, you just got to do it. You got to go get licensed right away. Start interviewing with different teams, different brokerages. Comfortability is a big thing. Work environment. Who do you feel that you can learn from the most? And my biggest thing about real estate is don't just go to who's selling the most in the area. You got to go to who's buying in the area, who's investing in the area, who's, has mortgage brokers in the area. You have to go to the guy who's all things real estate. And that's who you learn from, because at the end of the day, real estate agents, it's great, but you want to start to get into the equity side. You want to own some property. You want to, be able to rent it out, be a landlord. It's an amazing thing. So I think that's the biggest thing. You got to be able to connect with someone who has a little bit of experience throughout the whole industry, not just, being a real estate agent.
Right. So are you suggesting that someone that's interested, because I think a lot of people, they think they have to be hired by a brokerage. And I was telling this person that I was talking to, I was saying, no, you can interview them.
Yeah.
Remember, you have a little bit of power. You have a license. You have a license to sell. If a home is worth $100 million in New Jersey, you have the same ability to sell that home as anyone else, right? And that's like a major thing for people to understand, that there is no limit to what you can sell in real estate once you get your license. But you also have a certain leverage where real estate brokerages want you, right? So they will actually, you can go and interview and find out.
Recruitment's a big thing. Brokerages want to recruit. You do hold the power, so don't feel like you have to go to the first one you interview with either. There's a ton of different brokerages. There's independent, there's franchisee, there's, tons of different ones. They all offer different things. So you got to go with who you're going to be able to work with in a personal teamwork, relationship matter, because that's who you're going to learn from. The personal bond, that's where you learn for the real estate.
Right. And finding someone
going to get licensed. They teach you the ethics, everything else behind it. But, to be able to walk someone and be there for someone through A to Z on a deal, right. There's a lot that goes into it. You learn that through experience. So you want to be able to partner with someone that can, assist you in all areas.
Yeah. I always also say that there's very little, I mean, not very little, there is some stuff, but there's very little on the studying side for the test that you really use on a day-to-day basis. It really is, you study for the test. You have to pass that test. So you're studying basically to pass that test.
Yep.
That's not the real estate part. Real estate is a completely different thing. It's
just like school our whole lives, right, John?
When you graduate with your degree, it's like, I got this degree, which is cool and everything, but it's not, sometimes it doesn't prepare you for the real life issues that you're going to run into. And with real estate, it's really important to find a team that you can, that you feel comfortable with, and then someone that you can shadow that's not going to kind of be like, I'm a little bit busy now, or they're going to give you their time so that you can join them. Are you someone that's accessible for someone like that?
Oh, absolutely. I love meeting with new agents. I actually meet with a couple new agents every month. I try to talk to everybody that I know that's getting in the business, because also it's networking. It works out. It can work out so many different ways in both your favors, and that's the best relationship to have.
Yeah. So where do you see real estate? This is kind of just to put on your little, prediction hat for a second. Real estate in the next 2 years.
I think it's going to continue the way it is now. That's my personal opinion. I don't think a lot of people ask, is it going to be a bust? Is it going to be a bubble? Are we going to pop? And this is an honest opinion. I cite my sources if I have to, but I think real estate's going to continue to be on this climb. We're not going to drop in a sense where we're a bubble. We're going to just flatten out. And we're going to flatten out with a couple different reasons. There's a lot of demand that's going to continue based on low interest rates and incentives, and the Fed doesn't really have too much plan to change that. On the other hand, you have these sellers with low inventory. There was low inventory prior to the pandemic. There's even lower inventory now. And then on top of that, what's going to make us flat out, not burst, is we do have pent up foreclosures that never hit the market through the last 14 months or so. So those are going to start rolling out. You're going to have people that want to get divorced, spend too much time together in the house, and now their house. And so you're going to have a little bit more distressed properties. And I think that's going to ultimately even out the market. People like to compare to 2008, whereas anybody could get a loan, and people were defaulting on their loan that they, just used hundreds of thousands of dollars at the peak of the market,
Right.
uh, who should have never been given a loan. And then, whereas today banks are a lot more strict. The pre-approval process is thorough. The underwriting process is thorough. And you do have these problems today. I mean, even though the market's hot, there's a ton of buyers. Buyers are falling through on their loans,
Right.
because banks are a little bit more strict. So again, I don't think the burst is going to happen. I think for the next short term, we're going to be continuing to grow at a very rapid pace.
But do you think that because of the mortgage, not necessarily mortgage forgiveness, but mortgage um,
Deferment.
deferment for, sometimes for over a year, at some point this is going to have to be paid. Somebody's going to.
Absolutely. And that's
So
where in a
that's
few
where you're
years from
saying
now,
where,
I think we see all of that distressed property hit the market.
right.
There'll be a lot of opportunities on the investment side. There's going to be a little bit more inventory for buyers, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to hurt us.
Yeah, and just to look at the other side, because it is a tragedy when you think about, a lot of people who aren't going to be able to pay their homes, who've been, deferring their mortgages for this long, or even people that are renting in buildings that are owned by someone who
Yeah.
are not paying rent. At some point, they're going to lose something, and then the owner of that building is not going to be able to fill up his building fast enough, and he's gonna go. You know what I mean? So I think that there's gonna be a big shakeup in the real estate industry. I think it's not gonna be it can't be a bubble because you're right. In 2008, you walk in there and you're like, hey, I got a pair of pants on. Sure,
Yeah.
you can get a
There
loan,
you go.
and you get a loan, but that's not happening today. Like you said, banks are much more strict. Everything is looked at much more carefully, so we're not going to have those issues. But I think what's going to happen is a lot more of these homes are going to come on the market, and the inventory is going to increase. But we have to start looking at the economy. Are people going to be working? Unemployment is not doing what it was doing,
Mhm.
and we might not have people working enough to buy all
The
these
thing is the
inventory.
jobs are out there too. You
Well, the
saw
jobs have always been out
yeah,
there,
the
but they're
jobs are
jobs
out
that
there.
are not, you
And
know,
that's a question where, government stimulus, too much, too little,
right. Right
they're
now, there are jobs out there right now. People are making
more money at home.
more money at home. I get it. I get it. You know, we're not going to go into the whole politics of the whole thing because that would be another show. But
That's enough.
uh, yeah, but I do feel that is going to be, if anything happens where there's any kind of crash or any kind of economic debacle, it's coming directly from what we're talking
Mhm.
about, from the stimulus over
Yeah, yeah,
over
yeah.
stimulus of the economy, I think. And the real estate market, the thing about real estate is that piece of land is never going away. You know what I mean? That's the
Very
wonderful thing
different
about
from
real
the
estate.
stock market where that
It's
company
completely
can
different. Yeah,
bankrupt and a new one pops up the next
yeah,
day.
and people have to live somewhere. People always have to live somewhere. So you'll always have, if you own a piece of property, you know that somebody's eventually going to live there, and as long as you can hold on to it long enough, you'll be
I'll
fine.
be worried about real estate when Elon starts shipping people off to Mars to live.
He
When he
might be
builds,
doing that very soon.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
hear.
yeah, he's accepting a Deutsch now, so or he was accepting a Bitcoin for his Tesla, which he took out, and
No longer.
yeah, so he's not doing that anymore. But yeah, but you look at guys like Elon Musk and these big, what they say, and then you go back 10 years about what was being said, and you realize a lot of the financial guys, like the guy, like that guy, the Mad Dog, whatever his name is, the
Mhm.
financial investor guy, he's been wrong so many times. Like there's a whole funny video
Yeah,
online about him. So you have to be very, very careful on what the experts are saying. You know what I mean? I don't look necessarily at an expert or look at a statistic. I look at the economy and the overall feeling of things. I look at what's happening,
yep.
overall throughout. I think that really plays a huge part in the real estate market. And I think what's
It's
going to
it.
happen, people like you are
Mhm.
going to just crush it. because you're there, you're educating yourself, you're already preparing. So it's sort of like when whatever happens, you're going to be right there to pick up the pieces and do really well, which is what happened in 2008.
Yeah. I
2008,
mean, the thing is, at the end of the
learned
day,
money.
we definitely want to be there to help, and but I
Right.
know what you mean, the feeling of things. It's so funny because if you look at CNBC every morning, they're watching the 10-year note, and they're just, is inflation,
Oh,
this, that, what's going to happen next? But
yeah.
it's, the more you talk about it, it's already going to happen. It's here already. I mean, you're
Well,
just
we're
talking
gonna
about
have
it.
an inflation. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, like that's not even a question about it. So you don't have to
Right.
look at the TV every day. Everyone's already feeling it.
You
Everyone's
feel it,
already
yeah.
talking about it. So it's already here.
Right. And I mean, inflation is just a normal thing of that happens. But it's how much good, you make stuff. Like if I made donuts, right, and I made 100 donuts a day, and I sold those donuts, then I made 100 donuts. But if I say I made 200 donuts, but I'm only selling, but I'm selling, I made 100 donuts, right, but I'm selling 200 donuts. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
does not make sense. And this is what sometimes I feel like this whole stimulus thing and this whole economy, we're not making the money. You know what I mean? We're not making the money that we're dishing out. It's
yeah.
like,
No, not
where,
at all.
you know what I mean? So this is what always concerns me about the
Big tax
economy
thing.
and having a huge giant economic debacle here because our dollar is so, what I mean? It's just, and it's up against nothing. And that's what scares me. So, I know I'm being a little bit depressing here, but um, it's just that that's what really concerns me
This
when it comes
deserves
to
its
real
own
estate.
show for sure.
What was that?
This deserves its own show for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I think that that's part of why I wanted you here today is because you're on the front lines of the real estate market. You know what I mean? So you can really help people that are really in a position where they're saying, "Look, I don't know if I can in the next year or so afford this home." Because of the way things are going. I may lose my job or whatever, they may want to downsize. They may have a home that they're sitting on that right now might be worth $500,000. And in a year, it might be worth a little bit less. And they might not need, not, can't do that.
Yeah.
So with somebody like yourself that they can come in and they can just kind of get that they can actually downsize. You can put them into a smaller home and that'll just alleviate so much. Talk a little bit about that, about that.
Yeah, there's a big problem with people who are like, I want to sell. It's a great time to sell, but wait, it's also really competitive to buy. So aren't I? It's like shooting myself in the foot, kind of. Why don't I just stay here? But sellers are really always forgetting when they have that thought. If you're downsizing, it could save money in the long run, maintenance, whatever it is. Those are all personal decisions. But when it comes time to making the terms and the transaction of the deal, you're sitting on what everyone wants. Inventory. What you're sitting on the golden egg right
Right.
there. So you have all of the leverage. You can dictate the contract however you like. Lease it back for 30 days, 60 days, just to extend your stay if you need to after closing so that you could go out and look for a home or whatever it may be. But you really, really dictate the terms of the contract. So with that being said, you are not going to have, as hard of a time going to find another house.
Right. So let's talk to Mark for a second. Not the real estate agent. Let's talk to Mark. So what motivates you? Because I've known you now at least 4 years, at least, right? 4 or 5 years,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And since I met you, you were always ambitious. You were one of the few people that came into the office with an ambition that never went away, right? Because people
Mhm.
sometimes, they'll come in and they're like gun ho for the first 6 months, and then after a while, it kind of, you know, goes away a little bit. But you've been very consistent on that. What do you do to actually keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question. A lot of people forget what their reason is. 6 months into it, it gets a little uncomfortable if you haven't made your first sale yet, which is a very common thing. A lot of agents like take a year to make their first sale because they really, going to get a listing is its whole other science on the
Right.
agent side. Um, but at the end of the day, I just try and keep thinking my why. I, do certain little things, try and keep myself in a routine. And, I always feel like I burn out. working 7 days a week and traveling a lot and always on the road. And, sometimes I always think like, oh, wow, this is a lot of work, but it's it's why the reasons I do it, it's once I complete the sale or once I help the seller, I helped, I helped some people that needed to be helped throughout the pandemic. Um, Financially, situation wise. I mean, it was a really good feeling being able to be there and really just get people to the finish line because they need to, and they don't know anything else to do or any of their options. Just being able to provide that source is a tremendous feeling.
Right.
So when I feel that I need a little spark of energy, continue to go, I just think, how can I help someone next? And it sounds cliche, but you can be there for people in so many different ways in this industry. Whether you think of a landlord that just needs an apartment rented, they're financially stuck. They need rents, and you can help them do that. And there's a million different ways you can try and aid people in this market.
Yeah. So it's helping people, which is always the people don't realize how much you can help yourself by helping others.
Yeah,
It's definitely a great thing. Um, who do you read? Do you read anyone? Do you follow any
I'm a big Grant Cardone guy.
Grant Cardone? Okay, yeah.
He's good. You know why? Because he's not fluff. I found through trying to learn and a lot of influential things, and there's a lot of influencers out there, a lot of fake information, on just how to be bettering yourself overall and what to do. And you can get lost in all of the information that we consume every day. There's tons of content out there, but sticking to one, two, maybe three people with this, that align with your goals and how you can learn is really important. So I like Grant just because there's no fluff. He tells it exactly how it is.
That's for sure.
Yeah. He tells it exactly how it is. You sell yourself in all ways of life. And, he provides a lot of different outlooks for me, especially because he's a little bit hard. I like the motivation. When I'm down, I want someone to be hard on me, kind of tell me like, why are you be a little hard,
Right.
tough love. But, so that I think keeps me motivated in a sense too. Other than Grant, I like reading a lot of books. I read one on the stock, Peter Lynch. He's good. So, there's a couple different things in all different areas. I try to look for like one or two guys.
Yeah. And it's interesting that because you're the you're not a millennial, right? Because you're too young for that.
So it's so funny.
I
No,
don't
I'm
know
not.
what you
I
are.
think I'm a Gen Z.
You're
Don't remind me.
yeah.
It,
Well,
it sounds
but
weird to say.
it is weird, but what I'm getting at is the fact that somebody like Grant Cardone wouldn't appeal generally to that
No, probably
generation
not. No,
because it's
you're
too
right.
harsh. It's
But
too
I think people that are in
I think you need it.
you're right. No, people that are in my field, I think people that really, continue to go and they're entrepreneurs and they all run their own business, whatever it may be, over everything. But, there a big thing about it is selling. So that's his whole message. You
Right.
use yourself to sell in everyday life, especially, I mean, even if you work at a salary job, you're a teacher, you're always selling. You're selling yourself, you're selling the information to kids to get them to learn as a
Yeah.
teacher. So, people who truly want to further how to get better at this thing, they like that. I believe they like that tough love. They like the
Right.
just straight to you, no fluff. This is how you do it, and if you don't do it, it's your fault.
Right.
um you know
Well, that's another thing. It's accountability that I think Grant also puts in, and not just him, but there's a lot of other people that are
mhm.
in the industry that are influencers that are good. Also, I follow a few of those, and I think the accountability for your what you want to achieve in life is it mapping to are you mapping your goals to that goal. Are you actually working to that goal?
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people when they're being pushed because of whatever schooling or whatever, everyone gets a first place trophy kind of a deal. When you get out there into the real world, like real estate,
Yeah.
Mark,
it's
you're a
not
young
it's
guy out
not a
there.
safe,
You're going to get
there's not safe space.
right. You have to be tough. You can be nice. Like you said, you want to help people, you can be nice, but at the same time, you can't be a pansy in the real estate world, you have to kind of like know who to deal with,
In life in
and
general, yeah.
and life in general. You're right. You're right. And what is it about Grant? Because I've been following Grant for years. Like before he became the
Yeah,
10x guy, I was
that's
following
how
him.
I followed him before he was a celebrity,
Right.
like
Right.
6 years ago when I
I mean,
started.
to show
I
you
felt
how
like he was
long.
not a celebrity back then.
Yeah, well, to show you how long I've known him, I'm one of his 5,000 Facebook friends.
That's
But before he had,
so funny.
he was filled up on Facebook. But he is definitely somebody that I think a lot of people would benefit from. But he is hard nosed. He is hard nosed. He's in your face and stuff. Do you like when you're working with a team or something? Do you demand? Are you going to be that guy that demanding their
No,
advice?
no, I think there's a good lesson to be learned from it at the same time, because while I favored I love that I can look up to that and really relate to it. I don't think everybody can. Everybody learns in all different ways. And to be able to be the best team leader, you really have to get one-on-one with everybody and see what really motivates that one person and put them in the proper work environment to be able to succeed.
Yeah. I think you're gonna be a powerhouse, just because of the way you say things.
My
But that's really cool.
mom's
But
an English teacher, so
oh,
she
right,
has me every time I'm not like
right on the
grammatically
spot on point.
correct.
Yeah. Well, my wife's is a teacher also, but she doesn't correct me because I don't pay attention. So I'd be saying things like, "Yo, what's up?" But all right, so let's talk a little bit about moving forward and what the future holds for Mark. What do I'm not interviewing you for a position, but where do you see yourself? Not the real estate market, but what are you looking to do in the next few years?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I just want to keep growing in everything I do. I want to be able to multiply a serious, solid investment portfolio. Again, that's like my biggest long-term goal. That's what I really want to put all my hours into down the line, while also being able to grow a team at the same time of great salespeople that can really provide a personal touch to their clients, because that's big. Not no names. There's just a lot of people. They run amazing teams, but they just, it's different guys every time that you talk to on the phone. You have a million different people helping you, and that's big. I think people who go through the biggest financial transaction of their life deserve, someone who's really going to be there every day.
Right,
And they know what's happening with one person.
right,
For me, just personal opinion, but at the end of the day, I think those are my two biggest goals. I want to be able to grow a small team that can fulfill that side of myself, where I get satisfaction from helping people, and then be able to work on my own portfolio at the same time.
and what do you do for fun besides real estate and investing, and when it has
Oh
nothing to
my
do with
gosh,
money?
the hockey, I love. The
Oh,
Capitals
really?
are playing right now, game 4. They're down in the series 2-1, everybody. So, let's go Caps so they can tie it up.
So
But I'm big on hockey.
is hockey big in New Jersey because of the
Yeah.
Devils, or
Why
I
not?
don't know because
No, the Devils are not that great every
yeah,
year. I'm sorry if you're a Devils fan, big
yeah,
Capitals fan over
yeah,
here since I was a little kid. But nonetheless, I love hocky. I'll read
yeah,
books. I like to go fishing in the summer. I love the
yeah.
beach, long walks.
Nice. By yourself, just walking on the beach by yourself.
Yeah,
Just
me and my dog Midas.
yeah, there you go.
No, he went to the beach yesterday without me. Actually, he had a
Ah,
great time.
nice, nice. So, Mark, let's start. Wrapping up a little bit. I want to actually just ask you a little bit more about like where can people reach you and what kind of services you're going to provide.
Yeah,
Now, I know
absolutely.
I have an email here. Is your Gmail the one that you use the most? The one that I emailed you in?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Just
best place to get me, probably my cell, 551-697-0726.
say that again.
551-697-0726. Best place.
All right.
Just shoot
Well,
me a text, don't call. I have
cool.
like 200 messages that I constantly just filter
Did
through
I
all
did I type that in right?
day. No, perfect.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Sorry, I got the computer and a monitor over here.
Nice. All right, cool. So yeah, so you can reach Mark at this number right here. If you have any questions on real estate, if you're, you want to know what your home is worth, you're thinking of buying a home. What else? You're an
Yeah, no. If you're
investor.
looking to buy, if you're looking to get in your first investment, I'm big. You could ask my sister. Every time she comes home to visit, I think she lives in Brooklyn, so she'll come over to New Jersey. Whenever she comes around, I always sit her down. Nick, ready to buy a house? Yeah, just have people rent it out. I'm big on first time home buying and using it as a forced savings account because a 401k is terrible. IRAs are pointless. I don't know. Very strong opinions on this end. Real estate is a real asset. It's going to set you up for future generations, future generational wealth. It's something that you can physically give back to your family, and it provides cash flow along the way. You never want to be an income statement. You want to own a balance sheet at the end of the day.
Right.
So I think investing in real estate. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to get people started on their first time house hacking. You live in a unit, rent the other 3 out. It pays for itself. You move out, it'll start cash flow.
That's right. So we have some people on here. So if anyone has any questions real estate related to for Mark, can you please just jot it in there? We're going to be here for maybe like another few minutes as we wait for any questions to come in. And I'll just ask some of my questions. Um, when you're dealing with a bank, lawyers, there's a lot of different elements that take place that you have to kind of juggle. Um, what's one of the biggest challenges when you're doing that
On the real estate, on the agent side or the buying side or selling side?
on the real estate agent side?
It's about having a strong network. I love to work with familiar faces. And if I don't work with familiar faces, I want to know ask around who worked with them, get an experience, know how to gauge how they work. Very important. Some lawyers are only like to email, and that's big because that's probably going to be the quickest way to get to them instead of holding on the phone all day. But I like working with familiar faces. I have my team, a lot of people that I refer, at least two guys in each industry, just because, or girls, just because, that way you have options. And it's better to have a real estate agent use their people than, just picking random people out of the blue, because, you want to have everybody working together simultaneously to get you to the finish line.
Right, right. So this is definitely a good time to reach out to Mark and to let if you have any questions or anything. His number is right there. Give him a holler, send him a message, a text. Whoop, did I just black out there for a second? I'm back.
No, you're good.
Okay.
And
And yeah. Cool. So Mark, I want to thank you so much. If any questions come in after we're off, I will send them to you, obviously, but your phone number is on the screen there. So if anybody has any questions, please reach out to Mark. He will definitely help you. I know, because Mark is my guy that I go to when I need help with anything. And he's always been there, very attentive. He's a tremendous asset to Bayonne and to our office and to real estate in general. So Mark, thank you very much for being on. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me, John.
It's my pleasure. Do you have any last words, as they say?
Buy some real estate.
There you go.
And if you have to sell it, call me.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Mark, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I will see you again. We're going to try to do this on a monthly basis to try to give people updates on what's happening. So we'll have you back for sure very soon. Thank you very much for being on.
Thanks, John.
All right. Thanks. All right. Just hang on tight there. All righty. Well, that was Mark. Mark is awesome. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. If you have any questions, again, his phone number is right there on the screen. Give him a holla, and he will help you with your real estate needs. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'll see you all next week. I don't know who I have on next week, next Friday night, but next Friday night, I'll be on again live here at 7 p.m. on 7 p.m. My name is John Henry Soto. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful weekend. And as always, peace.